You hear a GP talking to a patient called Lucy Henderson. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Now, Miss Henderson, I've got your referral here, but it's always best to hear it in your own words. Can you tell me what's been happening?
Yeah, sure. It's been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. Sort of started creeping up on me last month when the weather turned. I remember it was one of those frosty mornings, cold enough to bite your fingers off, and I dashed out the door without gloves like a fool.
Right. And what happened after that?
By the afternoon, my toes were really sore, like they'd been rubbed raw. I didn't think much of it at the time, just figured I'd caught a chill. But then that burning sensation started to set in, and it just wouldn't let up. It felt like someone had lit a match under my skin.
Were the symptoms constant?
Not exactly. They sort of came and went, but got worse in the evenings, especially after I'd been on my feet all day at the school. My husband noticed I was limping a bit when I came through the door, and that's when he said, "Something's not right, love."
Did you notice any changes in the appearance of your skin?
Oh, yeah. My toes went all blotchy, red and swollen, almost shiny. One of them even blistered a little, which was new for me. It looked angry, like my skin was throwing a tantrum. I tried rubbing in some of that hydrocortisone cream I had lying around, but it didn't do much.
Any history of circulation problems?
Mm. Well, my mom had something called Raynaud's, I think. I'm not 100% sure if I've got it, but my fingers and toes do tend to go white or numb when it's cold. Could that be linked?
Yes, potentially. And do you recall anything similar in the past?
Actually, yeah. The first time I had something like this was on a skiing trip in the Alps a couple years ago. Uh, didn't know what hit me. Same kind of stinging, but I just thought it was the altitude or something. Never followed it up.
And aside from the pain, any other symptoms?
Itching, definitely. Especially once I warmed up. I'd come inside, sit down with a hot cuppa, and boom, the itching would kick in full blast. Honestly, it's been driving me up the wall. Sometimes I don't know whether to scratch or cry.
I see. Any medication allergies?
None that I know of. Have been lucky on that front.
Right. Based on what you've described, this sounds like classic chilblains. It's usually triggered by exposure to cold followed by rapid rewarming. We'll look at some ways to prevent flare-ups, like wearing thermal socks, avoiding direct heat sources, and using a good barrier cream. I also suggest taking regular warm drinks to help with circulation.
Right, that all makes sense. I just don't want it to flare up again. It's made standing in front of a classroom absolute misery.
Understood. Let's try this prevention plan first, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks to reassess.
You hear a pediatric ophthalmologist talking to a mother, Ms. Rachel Hardy, about her daughter Ella, who has recently been diagnosed with cataracts. For questions 1 through 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Good morning, Miss Hardy. I've gone over the referral from the health visitor, but it's always helpful to hear it in your own words. So, tell me what's been going on with Ella.
Right. Well, to be honest, I wasn't sure anything was really wrong at first. She's always been a bit clumsy, bumping into the corners of tables, that kind of thing. I just thought she was still getting the hang of moving around.
And when did you start to feel it might be more than that?
I'd say it crept up on us slowly. At first, it was just little things like she'd pick up a book and turn it upside down, or she'd get really close to the telly. We thought maybe she was copying her big brother or just being silly. But then her nursery teacher pulled me aside one day and said she wasn't always making eye contact and that she struggled to follow simple visual instructions like pointing to shapes or matching colors.
I see. And what about at home?
Well, yeah. After that conversation, I started watching her more closely. I noticed she'd hold toys really close to her face, almost like she was trying to sniff them. And when we're outside, she squints a lot. Even on cloudy days, it's like the light is just too much for her.
Has Ella said anything herself?
Not exactly. I mean, she's only 4, so she doesn't always have the words. But sometimes she says things like, it's all foggy, or I can't see the smiley face. One day, she told me, my eyes feel sleepy. That one really stuck with me.
That must be worrying.
Yeah. And to top it off, my mom, Ella's grand, said she thought Ella's eyes looked cloudy the other day. I hadn't noticed it before, but now that she's said it, I can't unsee it. It's like there's a film over them.
And what about her general health?
She's a healthy kid otherwise, eats like a horse, sleeps well, rarely gets colds, no history of anything serious. But she did have a bit of a squint when she was younger, nothing major, just now and then, especially when she was tired.
Has she had any recent vision checks?
It's just the one at preschool, which flagged this whole thing. They sent us for a proper eye test. That's when they said something about opacity in both lenses. I didn't really get it all, but they mentioned cataracts and sent us here.
Thanks, Rachel. That's very helpful. Based on everything you've described, it does sound like congenital cataracts, likely bilateral. We'll need to run a full visual acuity test and refer her for slit lamp examination. Depending on the results, we may consider surgery followed by patching therapy to strengthen the vision in each eye. But let's take it one step at a time.
Right. I just want her to be able to see properly. I feel like I missed the signs, like it all slipped under the radar.
Don't blame yourself. Cataracts in children are tricky. They don't always show up in the ways we expect. But you've done the right thing by bringing her in.